Consistent complaints is like the biggest red flag because the truth is there. And if there's a complaint, there's some validity or something inside that complaint.
I'm looking for a certain quality in my sheets. I'm looking for the quality of the towels. I'm looking for the cleanliness.
Everything is going off, all five senses. I'm seeing what do I hear? What do I see? What do I smell?
Don't be scared to call down and say something.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you can't, because you paid your money. And I don't want you to be nasty about it, but I do want you to speak up and say something. And also read more than one review, because we have seen people who were like, okay, come on now. Like, it was silly things.
Yeah.
This is a hotel I almost refuse to sleep in.
Yeah, listen, when we travel, we absolutely refuse to just lay our heads anywhere, and especially for our kids. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about those red flags that you need to spot so you could save your vacation, because if you miss these and you stay at these hotels or these red flags, there's a potential that you could ruin your next vacation.
From towels to staff uniforms, and if the smell of the lobby stinks, we're out. And trust me, we've done that before. We've left hotels. So let's get into it.
All right, so talking about hotels, like the first thing that you need to figure out before you even leave your house, before you get on the road and start driving down, is to really check like the pre-booking phase. I want you to start going on Google. If you found a hotel, start going on Google and read the reviews. And I'm not talking about reading the reviews, from 6 months ago. Look for recent reviews, because the recent reviews is similar to what they say. You're as good as your last. This is the same thing. This is what you want to be looking into.
And also look at the pictures. So I will go in a picture and I will zoom in and I will look at every nook and cranny, because I want to make sure I know what this hotel looks like. And I don't want to just rely on what the hotel's pictures, what they put on their website. I want to know what people are saying and what people's photos look like. I'll also go on TikTok. I'll look at people's reviews on there. So I really sit down and I do my research when it comes to picking a hotel, because I want to make sure that we're staying in the best hotel possible.
And I think you should do the same for your family. So the other thing that you can do as well is to, when you're in Google, go to Street View, because this is one thing I love to do. I travel a lot for my business, and the one thing that I make sure I do is to search the area. I'm not even talking about searching the area for different foods and stuff like that, because it could be in an area where there's not a lot of restaurants in the immediate vicinity. But I'm checking around to see if Google Street View is catching things that I need to know. Like, is it 2 houses or 2 blocks down? Is there something that I don't need to be around, or I'm not safe leaving at 7 or 8 o'clock at night or walking the street? This is what I'm looking for. So you really utilize Street View, really put yourself directly in the center to where you're going to be staying, especially if you're going to be staying there for a couple of days. If you're staying there overnight, you're leaving the next morning, that's one thing. But if you're staying for a couple of days, that's going to be your new neighborhood for the next, 4 or 5 days. So definitely utilize Street View. That's the biggest hack that I can tell you about this part.
And know your hotel comfort. Are you a 4-star kind of person, a 5-star kind of person, or do you don't care? Maybe 2 or 3-star. For me, I am 4-star and above. Like, we've tried, maybe on Hotwire, and there was a cool deal and we stayed in the 3-star, and I just felt very uncomfortable. Not because the hotel wasn't great, because there have been some really nice 3-star hotels, but because maybe the quality that I'm looking for a certain quality in my sheets. I'm looking for the quality of the towels. I'm looking for the cleanliness, And like I said, there's some places that we can't get a 4 and 5-star hotel, and we've stayed at a 3-star hotel, or sometimes even a 2-star, depending on the location. But I'm always going to go back and check all those things that we mentioned before: the TripAdvisor reviews, the pictures, the photos, and things like that. So know your comfort when it comes to that, because if you're not going to be comfortable in that hotel, you're not going to have a great vacation. And I know for me, that's a fact. Like, if we go to a hotel and I wanted to, like, you know what, we'll go for this one because the price is a little bit better than this 4 or 5-star hotel. This one, the price fits us. And we've gotten there, and Jay will tell you, the first thing he's going to say is, babe, you go in and check, because I'm the picky one. So usually out of all of our friends, I'm going to be the ones checking the hotels. And if I'm not comfortable, it just ruins the whole vacation.
Yeah. And again, if you're with your family, it could be totally different. The 3-star could be where you're at. We're not saying anything as far as 4 versus 3, but just like Brizette said, just know your comfort level and the comfort level of your family.
Yes.
The other thing that I would say is like watch out for consistent complaints. Consistent complaints is like the biggest red flag because the truth is there. And if there's a complaint, there's some validity or something inside that complaint. So really read through them. If you see like you have someone who wrote a novel on something, there's something inside there that could be a, common factor in most of the complaints that you see. If you're kind of seeing like they were rude, then there's a strong possibility when you walk in,
they're going to
be rude. So just like really pay attention to those things so you know what you're walking into. If that is like a last minute booking, you have no other choice. Really set your mind to go in. Let's say, hey, when I get in there, they may be rude, but it's not going to ruin my vacation.
And also read more than one review because we have seen people who were like, okay, come on now. Like it was silly thing.
Yeah.
And we're just like, seriously, like, I can't remember. One was just like, oh, I didn't like the way the light came in through the window. Ma'am, they can't help that, So make sure you're looking at more than one review. Make sure, and you're looking for, like Jason said, those consistent things that it's like, okay, more than one person has said X, Y, and Z, or more than one person said there's construction happening right across the street that kept us up all night, then that might not be the hotel for you because more than one person has said it. And it was in the last, week when you're about to go. And you can just call the hotel and say, hey, is there still construction going on across the street?
And they'll tell you.
And they'll let you know.
They'll let you know. Now, moving on to our next red flag. Red flag number 2. And that is when you first arrive at the location, what is your first impression? And this, for me, again, this is monthly. When I walk in, everything is going off. All 5 senses. I'm seeing what do I hear? What do I see? Most importantly, what do I smell? Because if the hotel lobby smells bad, if there's like a sewage smell or if there's a mildew smell, what is the possibility that you're probably going to have that in one of the rooms? Because if they can't take care of it there, what's the likelihood of them taking care of it in one of the rooms? So that's one of the biggest red flags that you can look for when you're walking into a hotel.
Also, how's the staff dressed? Like, when you go in, are they dressed in uniforms? Or if they're dressed in their regular clothes, are they dressed nicely, or they just don't care? Because that's a red flag, because if they don't care, then sometimes it means that maybe the people who are cleaning your room might not care either. Are they going to really go above and beyond to make sure your room is clean if they're coming to work dressed anyhow? So for me, that is a big red flag. And I will say, you know what, Jay, maybe we'll go somewhere else because this isn't right for us and our family.
Yeah, it's just not right. It's just not right. Now, the other thing too is when you walk in, like, how are you treated? That's one of the biggest things. I know we were talking about the comments before and people saying that they were rude. Here's where it really matters, because if you walk in and you feel like you were dismissed or you're not even being seen, that's a red flag. Because again, it all starts with like when you first walk in, that's what management is teaching them. Most of the times, if you guys know anything about hospitality, is the experience of the guest the minute they enter your establishment. So if you're walking in and nobody's acknowledging you, what makes you think that if you call housekeeping and you're saying, hey, I'm really cold, can you bring up an extra blanket? And I'm like, we'll get to it. It kind of things like that. So that's the first thing I would notice when we walk in. A lot of the hotels that we stay in, and thankfully the hotels that I stay in monthly, the minute you walk in and they're greeting you, oh my God, how was your drive in? Looks like you're coming from Georgia. Wow. Was it the flight okay? Just asking different things just to kind of get you to the point of like, okay, I could hang out here for a while, because even though I know it may be a script, but hey, they're trying. They're trying at that point. So I think that's a really good indication of knowing like, hey, where do we stand here? The minute you walk in, you're taking my money, but how are you gonna treat me?
How are you gonna treat me?
Yeah.
All right, the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart.
Flag number 3.
Flag number 3.
It should have been flag number 1.
Yes. So it's walking inside of the room for the first time.
Yeah.
Now, again, like I said earlier, Jason will tell you and my kids will tell you.
Yeah.
They will say, Mom, you go in first.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I go in, I am not just going in and like, oh, this is such a nice room. No, I am going in like Inspector Gadget. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for things. I am looking, at the towels. I'm looking at the sheets. I'm pulling up the bedspread to make sure, is there a protector on that bed, or is it just the sheet on top of the mattress? Like, did they take the extra time for that? I'm looking under the bed, making sure there's nothing under the bed. I'm looking behind the couch. I just want to see, did they take the time to do what they were supposed to do? Because it will surprise you. We stayed in our last hotel in DC, And we did all the research that we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
We stayed right on, where were we at?
We're in the wharf.
No, the water area.
Like
And
money hotels right now.
yes, and we stayed and we looked at the reviews. Parking was $65 a night. You know, it was a good hotel, great location. We got into the room and the lobby looked perfect. Everything looked really nice. Got upstairs and I was like, smell of weed. But, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. Let's go to the room. So we got to the room and immediately I noticed like, it wasn't up to par, you know. There was like dust. The bed sheets had little holes in it. The towels were dingy, and I was like, "Come on now! Like we paid a lot of money for this hotel room. Like why does it look like this?" And now I'm not gonna be rude and nasty. I just called down. I'm like, "Hey, you know, can someone come up and take a look at the room with me? You know, there's some things that are off. I'm not trying to get anything free.
Yeah.
I just know that we paid our money and we expect something that we expect the quality to be there."
Yeah.
And the one thing that really disappointed me was that the couch was kind of pulled out from the wall. So it wasn't like something that I'm going to go look behind the couch, but it was pulled out from the wall. And I happened to look behind the couch and there was like wrappers from candy and stuff all back there.
Which was odd. It was like, are those really candy wrappers?
So it's just like the person housekeeping just didn't take the time to do what they were supposed to do. And I know that they're overwhelmed with a lot of rooms and maybe staffing is short and things like that. But if it's your job, I just think that you should take it and do it the right way, you know, because someone else is trusting that you cleaned this room and you did what you were supposed to do and you were supposed to be keeping the quality of the room up so that the person coming has a great stay.
Yeah, especially when you're traveling with kids. Like we travel with kids, and I'm pretty sure, you know, if you're watching this video, you have kids and you're traveling with them. Just put yourself in the shoes of knowing that you're trusting someone else with your family's hygiene, you know, because again, they're coming in, you expect if your kids are going to play on the floor, if they're playing Legos or anything like that, you're expecting that the room will be clean. And that's what we mean up to par.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that, you know, for everything that's going to be expensive versus not expensive, but if you walk into a hotel, you just expect it to be clean without seeing any wrappers, because then that just puts the doubt in your mind. Was it really clean?
Yeah. And we go, like when we go to a hotel room, any hotel, 5-star, 10-star, whatever star, we're going to go in with our Clorox wipes and we're going to wipe things down, you know, just for our peace of mind. I come in with my own washcloths, you know, things like that for our own peace of mind. So it's not that we're not going to clean it, you know, but we expect that it is clean when we get there.
Yeah.
And we left that hotel, which puts a damper on our vacation because now we have to explain to our kids why we're leaving the hotel. And we went to the Intercontinental at the wharf and we had an amazing stay, you know, so.
It really was. Now, the other thing that I would say, like when you're checking in as far as like the hotel, before you get, obviously when you get into the room, you're smelling, you're looking around, you're looking for carpet stains. And a lot of those things, sometimes they're out of control, because to change one carpet in a room, with you know, you're really kind of changing a carpet on the entire floor from what I understand and what was told. But the thing that I like to look at when I go in the bathroom, and I do this every single month, and you may not even know about this, but if you check that little drain hole that's at the top of the sink, that just in the event the sink is about to overflow, that it's like that last catch so it doesn't spill over, you could see it through the mirror. And it's really disgusting if, you know, there's not a housekeeper or a housekeeping team that was told about that. In some of the hotels that I think they do try to clean that out, but it's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. So the next time you go to a hotel, even though it may be clean, you know, just check that. Because you may notice like, this is really gross. So it just makes you kind of think, if you see it's clean, then you know they're really putting the effort into it. They're really paying attention to a lot. But that's just one of the things that just gets me. Outside of that, of course, would be like the safety of the door. This is one of the biggest things. So we do have alarms that we travel with, because again, hey, you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. But the safety of the door, and we have kids. So we're always checking like the safety of the latches. We're checking the strength of the door, the weight of the door. If we're seeing like the door, like the latch is kind of like off and it's on by like one screw when it should be 4, that's an indication that's poorly maintained. And that's probably a common issue within the hotel, because I'm pretty sure someone complained. I don't really think a lot of people would just stay in a room with a broken latch. I really don't believe so. But that's just something that you just want to keep in mind and kind of like just keep in the back of your mind if you see that, to make sure you say something, because that is definitely one of the other red flags.
And I will say, don't be scared to call down and say something.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you can't, because you paid your money. And I don't want you to be nasty about it, but I do want you to speak up and say something. Don't just feel like, well, this is where I have to stay, because at that hotel we stayed at, I'm like, we can't be the only ones who see this. Like, we can't be the only ones having this experience. And people are walking around like, oh, this is so great. And I'm just like, but it's not. It's not okay, just because you paid your money and this is what you think that you should just accept,
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that really makes me so upset is that if I call down about maybe towels being dingy and they bring me fresh ones, nice, pretty bright ones. And I'm like, so that means you had clean towels.
Yeah.
Like, so those things are the things that I like look for, and I really, say, hey, this is not okay.
Yeah. So the other thing we're going to move on to is red flag number 4. And that is, I was touching on it briefly, but like the maintenance of the hotel. If you notice when you walk in, if they have 3 elevators and 2 of them are down, there's a possibility that you got some maintenance issues going on in the hotel. Maybe the elevator maintenance guy probably didn't have a chance to go out. But if you hear somebody inside the lobby saying, this is the 3rd day and no one's been out here, watch out, because there could be other potential issues that's leading in a hotel. Not saying this is a blanketed statement as far as a hotel is in shambles, but that's one of the things that you notice, because again, the convenience for the guest that's coming in is at jeopardy at that point. So that's one thing you want to definitely check.
And also the maintenance of the pool. If you going, like, take the time on that first day when you check in to go check out the pool and check out the amenities, because especially if you have kids and they want to go do these things and the pool is closed and it's been closed for a couple of days, that might be a time where you say, hey, we planned this vacation to have a pool. We might need to check in somewhere else. Or if it looks nasty, you don't want your kids in there, so
No.
check on those things, because if they don't keep those things up to par, then might most likely the upstairs and the other rooms or things that you are going to be doing around the hotel are not kept up to par.
Another thing that you want to look out for in red flag number 4 is the shared spaces. We were talking about, just talking about pools. I'm talking about like the ice machine maker or room in each floor. We're talking about a laundry room, if they have a laundry room on each floor, or a laundry room in general. We're talking about the gym, and we're talking about definitely like the stairways. A lot of people don't use hotel stairways at all. So most of them are really clean, unless you're on the first floor, just going to the second floor. But if you're on the 8th floor, most of them are clean. But if you notice that if you go out there and you see like trash inside there, that's not even being looked at. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind. Or if you go into the gym and you notice there's like a ton of dirty towels and it's 6 a.m. or who's working out overnight to have all those dirty towels in there. Now, if it's at 5 p.m., you had people working out throughout the day, maybe they just didn't get to it. But if you're first thing in the morning and there's no clean towels, who's been working out? So these were sitting there from yesterday. Yeah. So that's just kind of one thing you just want to keep in mind when you are walking around the hotel and really checking things out for your red flags.
All right. Now, we've had some stories, like we've had some horror stories that just blew us away. Like one hotel, I remember we were driving from Georgia to Florida, and usually we do this drive in one trip. Mm-hmm. Well, this particular day we decided to leave late, and we were like, oh, let's just get a hotel halfway.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we got to Macon. Like, that's how tired we were. We got to Macon, and it was spring break, so it was definitely our fault. There were no hotels, so it was one hotel left. Yeah. And we pulled up to the hotel. We walked into the lobby, and the smell was off. And I was like, and then it just kind of looked dingy. I was like, can't do it. I was like, I will sleep in the car before I lay my head in this hotel. And we ended up just calling my aunt, who didn't live too terribly far. And we were like, hey, do you mind if we come crash with you for the night? Yeah. But I refused to let my kids stay there. I refused to stay there, And there have been times where we were stuck, and in Valdosta, we drove through to Valdosta, and there was only one hotel available. And I was just like praying that whole night, like, oh God, this, I don't want to stay here, but, we couldn't help it. But yeah.
I agree. And again, everyone's comfort level is different. But if you go into a hotel thinking one thing, meaning, and here's why I want to just like lay as far as like the foundation here. If you're going into a hostel in a completely different country and it's really cheap, and you're paying like $20 for the night, you have a level of expectation that this is probably not going to be cleaned tonight. It just may not be. Maybe the hostel owner, they didn't have a chance to like go in and clean it. You just know what you're dealing with. Or if you're in a really budget, like a value hotel room where it's like $50 a night, you do have a certain set of expectations of knowing it's probably not going to be the most comfortable sleep. It's probably going to be a really thin comforter. But when you cross like a certain threshold, like Brizette said, like 3.5, and you get in a 4, then or in a 5, you're in a different zone of thinking, because you're not only thinking about like, you know, just as far as like your basic needs, you already know those are being met. But now I want an experience. It's kind of like you having bags, and you have a really high-end fashion bag versus just a utility bag. Utility bag is just going to get it done. The high fashion bag is going to get it done as well. But now you have it to where you just want the luxury of it. So that's the kind of mindset we're thinking about when we walking into the hotel. If you're on vacation and you're like, hey, we paid X amount for this and we're expecting this. When you don't get that, you do have something to say about it. So that's one of the things that I definitely want to just piggyback on our horror stories, because we've thought that we walking into something great and we're like, oh, this is not it. This is totally not
like
it.
we went to St. Martin and we paid for like a view of the garden view and stuff like that. We had a street view. The hotel room was old. And we were just like, no, we flew all the way here. We know what the rooms were supposed to look like because we did our research. But it just so happened that we were on the older side. And, you know, we called down. We were like, this isn't it. You know, we paid X amount of money. We want a better room. We were nice about it. We waited. We had to wait, but eventually we got a different room. You know, it wasn't that we wanted something for free, but it was just that what we spent our money on, because we didn't want to ruin our vacation.
Yeah.
You know, or just settle for like, oh, I guess this is it. I guess, you know, if you don't ask, then you won't know.
You won't know. You won't know. So those are our 4 red flags right there. I know we threw some extra ones in there for you just to let you guys know what the things that you should check before you start that car and start on that road trip, or you hop on that flight to go to the next hotel or go to the next city or the next country, are the things that you just need to look out for. So the one thing that we want you guys to do is leave a comment. Let us know, what are your red flags? What are your non-negotiables? We've already explained it. Our non-negotiables is cleanliness.
Yes.
It's not a luxury. Cleanliness is not a luxury. I'm just sorry. That's just the way that we think. And again, if you agree with us in the comments, let us know. But definitely share in the comments what you guys have as red flags, because in the comments, it actually helps others. Believe it or not, we have TikTok videos right now that are going back and forth for people just helping each other out, how to book cruises, what hotel they should stay in, what areas they should stay in. So it's a community effect, and we really like the way that it's actually carrying out.
And we are not saying that, you know, you have to stay in this hotel or that hotel. What we're saying is that when you stay in a hotel, just know your comfort level.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely know your comfort level. So hopefully this helps out. Yeah, next time. See you guys. Peace.